Hi, friend.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, I'm just trying not to melt over here.
Fair enough.
Right?
It is like 103 here. I don't know how it is there, but I assume similar.
Oh, yeah. Same thing. Patrick and Jai Deep, how you guys doing?
What's up?
And the thing that sucks is that my air conditioning to my house here, when it's this hot, the AC outside, like the central air, just cannot get the house cooled. And so I've got one of these window mounted air conditioners,
Oh.
or not window mounted, but like vented. You have to vent it through the window. But
Oh, yeah.
it's
My husband used one
ancient.
of those.
Yeah, it's an old one that the roommate had because she went and bought a new one, a brand new one for her room, and her room stays cold as a refrigerator. And she's like, I've got an old one in storage I could get. And I've used it the last 2 years or so. It's kind of worked fine, but I think it's finally ran out of juice. And so it's
Hmm.
blowing just like warm air, and then occasionally it'll kick on the cold air and then go back to warm air. So I'm like, now I got to go buy one. I got to spend a couple $100. It's just there's always something to spend money on.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that being said, I'm dying in this heat. So, and I get my kids all next week, and I can't have them staying with me dying. So I'll
That's
probably
fair.
be making a purchase when I get off work tomorrow. I'll probably be like, well, let me go buy this thing. Just set it aside. Like, just stop worrying about the cost and just be like, all right, at least there's nice cold air.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my brother-in-law gave my husband one of those. It was when he didn't need anymore, but when he didn't have air conditioning in his apartment, he had used it.
yeah.
And so yeah, he my because he shuts his door because he works from home, and so he's you know up there and needs it to be cool. Even if it's cool in the rest of the house, he won't know because works well. I think it's fairly new-ish.
Yeah. Someone says I might need to prime it with Freon. I guess I can look at it and see if there's a way to change it, but I'm not interested in trying to like rip it open, and I don't know if it's easy to do that. I don't know, but this thing's something like the roommate said it's more than a decade old. It might be like 15 years old. It's an ancient machine. She's shocked it still works at all. But we got out of her storage and brought it over here and plugged it in. I'm like, yep, it works, but 3 years later, I think it's just done.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
So we'll see.
Did you go to several 7-Eleven days?
Did I do what?
Go to 7-Eleven for 7-Eleven days.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh my gosh, free Slurpee, dude.
Uh, I had no idea. I've been at work all day, and then I came home and I just sat down and tried to I'm just gonna not do anything for a minute. So that's what I've been doing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Not that a Slurpee doesn't sound fantastic right now. Actually, have you ever had a
Trying to.
yeah? Have you ever had a pina colada Slurpee?
Yes, I have.
I mean, just flavor wise, it's like so good.
I'm not. I'm gonna sound awful here. I'm not a big pina colada fan,
It's all right.
but I will drink a pina colada Slurpee.
Yeah. I'm not a yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I'm not necessarily all about the drink, but the that fruity flavor in a cold Slurpee. I will do that absolutely. So what you working on, Missy?
This is the challenge,
Yeah,
and I don't know what how it's pronounced. Is that like Ginjinx or whatever it is?
yeah. I saw everyone talking about it. I didn't know what everyone was referring to.
Um, so you take an inanimate object, it's not alive, and kind of make it into a person. I always think of it kind of like Beauty and the Beast
Oh, okay.
when all of the inanimate objects become, they're alive, but they're items like the opposite of that. That's kind of what I think of. So, this is what I'm using. Don't look at my messy ass. But this was one of the pictures that Mark actually uploaded. Some porcelain, old fashioned egg thing with an owl on it. So I think that's an owl. Actually, that might not be an owl. And I'm looking at it. I don't know what that is, but yeah, it's like a bird.
It's neat.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can.
Oh, you know what? Whoops. Oh, looks like you're frozen. Or maybe you're just holding your pin
I don't know.
steady for a while.
You went robot for just a second.
Okay. Who knows?
I'm starting to think that it's not either one of us, that it's a YouTube thing because I had someone say on here and we experienced that a little bit. And then I had another guy on the other day and it kind of went goofy on us, both of us. And it's like, wait, something's off.
Yeah, that's fair.
Neither one of us. So who knows? But yeah, I did a live stream with the guy from Canada. So gone even more international. We did Nate from Australia. Now we did this guy Mitch from Canada. So that's kind of fun.
Nice. That's cool though, right?
Yeah, we had a fun stream there. Someone says, "Welcome back to the stream, Jess. Hope your adventures were good ones."
Oh yes, yes, they were fun. Meaning the camp out. We actually came back a little bit early. We were supposed to leave the next morning, and I had gotten pretty sick, so we actually just came a little bit early, like the night before. But we would have left the morning after anyway. But it
But
was a fun time.
yeah, kids have fun.
Oh yeah, they didn't want to go.
They're like, "Can we stay here? Come
Yeah,
on."
they were not about the leaving.
Yeah. Well, that's good when they have that much fun.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good time.
Trying to think of things to do with my boys when I get them next week because after tomorrow I'm off for 9 days. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah. Their mom's going out of town for a work thing. So, I need to have them for a week before they go to school anyway. So she just, can we coordinate it so it can be this week? I'm like, yep, you betcha.
There
So,
you go.
trying to have something fun to do with them besides they sit around and watch YouTube videos.
Okay, you make that sound like it's such a bad thing. I'm just kidding.
Well, when it's 9 straight days of that, I should be a better father to make him get out of the house. But of course, now it's going to be crazy hot. So I'm going to take him to a movie. We're going to go see the sequel to Twister
Ooh,
that comes out on next Friday.
that'll be cool.
I think so. It looks like it'll be good. I hope it will be.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like it'll be fun. I saw the preview, but I didn't pay too close attention to it.
Yeah.
I did see they released a date for Severance season 2.
Is that I don't even know what that is.
That's on Apple, and in my opinion, that might be the best series to have come out in the last 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hands down. Like, well, maybe not hands down, but very, very close. Um, huge, huge, huge fan of that one.
Wow.
So it's taken them forever to get season 2, and I mean, it's still gonna be, January next year, but at least we have a date finally.
Yeah.
At least there's a date. So I'm stoked about that. How's your book coming along?
It's coming along. I'm not going as fast as I hoped I would be or should be. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just. I tell people I'm kind of burned out, and they're like, "Are you? What are you bored of the book?" And I'm like, "No, it's not that. It's just because I've been going nonstop for so long. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just, oh God, I need a second, and this is like the worst time. I cannot take a second right now, even a little bit. So I haven't been quite as fast as I wanted to be. Um, I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I hit my goal. I might. I think I will, but it's not
Oh.
for sure. So I just keep going, and Chuck's been stepping up and like send me pages, man. I'm trying to help you. I got you. Let me help you. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to send him worthwhile stuff, like do good work on the stuff I send him, so it's not like a confusing mess. you know,
Yeah.
or he gets a thing, he's like, "What the fuck is this?" um, so he's been a big help, and I'm so close. You know what I mean? Just gotta get it done, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Well, obviously I haven't. I can see that what you're doing. It looks good to me, but I mean,
Just wish I wasn't this close to the deadline.
yeah, I get you.
um, and I had a little bit more time, and I don't know. I'll just get through it. I just got to power through it. I'll get done. It'll be fine, and I'll be glad, and I'll be I'm proud of the work. I'm happy. I'm happy about it. Just I'm ready to set it aside and just like not have to worry about. I have to sit down and draw these pages to get it done. I can think about other things for a minute.
Yeah.
So, but it is exciting to like be like I'm so close. You know what I mean? I'm right here. There's all these things I've been waiting to draw. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I've been waiting to do this one for years, and now it's like done. It's in the rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Keep
That is
going.
cool.
Yeah.
JD says, "You can do it, Rob. I believe in you."
Well, thanks, little brother. I appreciate it.
Um, is this Toy Vani? Am I pronouncing that right? What's your favorite art book?
I don't have one. I don't know what that means. What's my favorite art book? I'm not sure I even know what that means. Like
Maybe that means don't you upload like sketchbooks and stuff like that people have done?
well, I mean, I do comic book stuff, and
Man, I can't get this ear right.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
I'm just
Huh.
my brain's not working. I'm like, I don't know. Art book. I don't. There isn't an art book that's like my favorite. I don't have an art book that I like. I like comic book artists. I like certain comic books, but there's no art book that I'm like, this is what is an art book? Like an instructional one?
Oh,
No.
I see what you're saying. I was thinking of it kind of like book of art, like when your favorite artists do like sketchbook releases.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I was thinking. Someone saying says I figured that scale Jim Lee black and white book might register high on your list, Rob.
He's right. I've got it sitting right here next to me. I keep thinking I need to put it away into like a better place to store it, but I like having it sitting right next to me, you know,
Yeah,
just because it's nice to have it right here.
I get you.
It says, like Loomis or Bridgman or Hampton. I don't own any of them. I've seen them. I'm aware of them, but I don't own any of them, so I can't really. I know some buddies that have let me flip through them, and I've seen the work online, but I don't own any of those personally.
Fair enough.
I don't, I know it's not exactly true, but in like a really vague sense, I don't feel like you can learn anything from a book. Um, I mean that's not true. It's hard to learn from a book. It's more like you need someone physically in front of you to show you a thing and then let you do the thing and let somebody look at it and kind of demonstrate. Like I've picked up some how to draw books, like here's how you ink, here's how you do this, and it's hard for me to just gather anything from it when I'm like reading it. I just learn better by just physically doing. I don't know.
I know what you're saying. In that same thing, I don't know anything about it either. And I don't own any art books myself. I used to when I was a teenager. I had some that my grandmother had given me because she thought, "Oh, well, you like art." And I did flip through them. I couldn't even tell you whose they were. Um,
Like I
I will
don't
say,
know.
I think the only thing I learned from them, so I guess that's not true. Whatever book I had, it helped me figure out that just because something, and this might sound so simple and obvious, when you're painting or doing anything in color, just because something has a shadow over it doesn't mean that it's black or gray. You
Right.
can change the color. And it helped me figure out what colors are good, like shaded or shadow colors for different colors, and how to decide what color to use to make it look like a shadow and not just a different shaded color with it.
Right.
So that was something I did learn, but that's one of those things because I'm flipping through and I can see, on the pages they're showing you this. Maybe that was why it was more instructional in that way. But I don't know.
I do have this. I Somebody gave me this like how to watercolor book, and I farted around with it years ago, and it listed the color tones you needed necessary to mix to get like a generic Caucasian flesh tone, for example, or these other colors to mix to get like a certain shadow, and they were like colors I would have never ever thought that you would mix to get
Oh
these.
yeah.
And I'm like, I know nothing about color. I don't like to do color. And so it just reaffirmed how much I don't want to do color. So I'm like, I'll just go back to my writing work. I'll just not worry about it.
Oh wow. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, yeah, color is fascinating to me. It can be very frustrating too.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot to try to like think about, but I like it myself.
Yeah. I know it's not quite the right thing for me to say you can't learn from books. That's not exactly what I mean. But uh, it's more of the type of stuff that I feel like I need to learn and excel at the most is just figure drawing. And I don't need a book to tell me to all you just have to sit down and get some reference and just start drawing it. I guess you could learn like quick sketch block it out, like do gestural drawings, which I did pick up from a how to draw comics the Marvel way kind of thing that I from years ago. But ultimately it's just like just sit down and start drawing the human figure, start practicing, start using reference, and then just draw and just keep going.
Hmm.
Eventually you'll just start picking it up. if you have that kind of innate artistic ability, it'll just kind of start working. And I don't need a book.
Yeah.
Here's where the bicep is. I can look at a picture and see where a bicep is. So I don't know.
Yeah. In the same sense that I think by looking at other art, like if it were one anatomy, um, drawings, people who have laid out how something should look in different positions, that could help. Like in that, but then same sense, like you said, you can just find references and
Yeah.
use that. It's like I was telling my son. So my son has decided to pick up skateboarding. And I actually ordered myself a skateboard because it's been so long since I've done it, but I want to do it with him.
Nice.
And I was telling him, I said the thing about skateboarding, because he's nervous. We've got a skate park just down the street from us, and there's a quarter. There's multiple quarter pipes that you can access there. They've got rails, they've got ramps, they've got all the things. They've got a full bowl and a crater, all those things. Super neat. And he wants to do them, but really all he's done is focused on writing on um maybe like sloped roads or sidewalks, but just sidewalk writing, right?
Right.
And so he's been watching YouTube videos because he's nervous. He gets into the up at the top to drop in off a quarter pipe and he gets scared. The first time he did it, he actually almost landed it. I mean, it was almost perfect. But he did fall and he hurt his side. And ever since then, he's kind of been gun shy about it.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's tried attempts a few times, and we've helped him. The skater community is super nice. So, you've got guys there will try to like show him things and stuff. And I tried to explain to him how to do it. I tried to explain to him the best way, tried to show him, and he still will stand up there and he'll just stand there, like posed to drop in, but he won't do it. He's
Yeah.
just too daunting. And then he'll be home looking at YouTube or watching, Sean White or Tony Hawk or like different skaters, like how they do it. And I tried to tell him, I said, look, this is all fine and good, but you are never going to be able to do it until you try it yourself,
Yeah.
until you fall down a few times, until you figure out that where your weight needs to go, until you're going to fail multiple times, multiple attempts before you succeed. But watching things and watching somebody else do it, you'll never grasp it. And I feel like it's kind of that way with art. Like you just kind of have to figure it out. You kind of just have to draw and figure out what looks right, practice, or you'll never learn.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, you gotta little baby birds got to learn to fly, so you got to get kicked out of the nest. You got to start flapping them wings. you know.
And this is kind of for someone who never practices as much as I should on art. And I feel like it definitely shows when I spend time not working on it.
Yeah.
And I just think that the more you do it, the better you'll be.
Yeah. I'm missing some comments here. El Guapo Comics, man, how are you? Panda, good to see you. Giovanni
What's
asked,
up?
so when did we start drawing? I mean, in general, I started drawing when I was just. I've talked about this a lot. Some of these people are like, oh God, here Rob goes with that dumb story. But I was late to the game. I didn't start drawing until I was like an early teenager. I just suddenly discovered I liked it and I could kind of do it, as opposed to some people like Miss Jessica here, who's like, you've been creative for as long as you right, as long as you could kind of remember.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, as far as I can remember, I started drawing. I used to draw on everything and I drove my parents crazy They would buy me dolls, and I would sit and draw on their faces, make them different, try to make their eyes look different and stuff. And in books, which apparently is a no-no, I used to think, the blank pages in the backs and fronts of books that are kind of before a epi or yeah, before an epilogue or after a prologue or something. I used to think they put those in there so you could draw pictures about the story.
That's actually brilliant. I love that story. It's so great, and it's like, oh, that's so cute. It should be for that.
My mom was like, "That's not what it's there for." Well, it should be.
Panda says, facts, Jessica. I had a friend who claimed he was an artist, yet all he did was sit on the couch watching animations and smoking weed. It surely became obvious he was never going to produce.
There you go.
I've talked about that. I've mentioned that many times about we've all known people that say they're going to do a thing. And then you're just like, all right, you've been talking about it for a couple of years. When you actually make a thing, you let me know and I'll be happy to look at it. Meanwhile, I'm going to be over here making a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. I have no doubt. There are a lot of people out there. And to be fair, I can't really talk too much because I'm not very consistent, sorry, um, myself, but
But I've seen you be extremely productive. And I know I mentioned this and I know you know it, but you've got 4 kids. You got to do the mom thing. You're doing school. Like, where
yeah,
do you find the time to exist? So
I will say, I feel like doing a school uh, for anybody who has any trying to figure out when they should go. If you want education, please do it before you have children. It's don't squander this time of your life if you're going to have kids. If you're not going to have kids, continue on. But yeah, it's just not good.
it's,
I actually right now my youngest is on my back as we speak, asleep.
oh yeah, your little girl.
Yep, she just wasn't going to be good and I could tell, so
Like on your back, like a little slouched on your like on your back.
I got like a carrier. She's in a carrier.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just was being a little turd, so
There's a Kate Myers says Jess has since learned the love of not caring about drawing and writing in books.
actually not wait, just has learned the love of not caring about drawing with. That is true. So, I am reading the Throne of Glass series right now, and oh no, that's not the series. Actually, I'm the Akatar series. The Akatar series, yes, that's the one everybody calls the fairy porn. I have been sitting, Kate and I are doing a deep dive. I have been sitting when I get time, which I know I'm behind, Kate, but and going through it again because I've already read the series and doing like a deep dive read where you tab your favorite parts, you put notes in the columns, things that you notice, theories about upcoming events, about different people. And I also sometimes draw the things that are being talked about or depicted, and I've sent them to her as a grown ass adult. Oh, Gayton uploaded the Discord link too.
Yeah, a couple people were asking. Thank you, Gaten. I appreciate you doing that very much, man. It's very helpful because I can't do it when I'm on the live itself. So it makes it very helpful. And Panda says fairy porn. Post a link, Jessica, please.
The funny part about it is when I first started reading it, I thought the same thing that everybody says. And yes, they are very sexual in some of the books in particular. Um But actually, the writer has she is a genius in so many ways. She has put all kinds of hidden themes, and I ended up doing today. I just there's a scene in there. I decided to look some stuff up about the different flowers she had in the scene. And knowing kind of what she pulls from, myth wise, like where she pulls from, I was able to like discover she tells you the story and how it's going to go in that one paragraph. It's just neat stuff like that. Like she's much more talented than people give her credit for because she is known to kind of write the saucy stuff, you know?
That makes sense. Or like, and if that's your way in, I kind of, if you write the saucy stuff and it gets people to look at you, but then you can be like, actually, I don't just write saucy stuff because that's all I can do, but it got you to look at me. Now I'm going to wow you with actual interesting content. I think that's a fair approach. It's so hard to
It's
get
kind of how it is
noticed.
with her. Yeah.
It's hard to get your stuff noticed. It's hard to get anybody to look at your work. And like, all right, I'll I'll do this.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, it's true. I feel like that's a lot of what people know her for, especially this particular series, because she's got other ones that are I mean, Throne of Glass is much less saucy. Yeah, it's the ACOTAR or Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. Interesting enough, I also learned that now colleges are teaching courses specifically on her writing because of how she puts like, she disguises details in her books, and so it's kind of an interesting writing tactic she uses. Didn't even know that
Oh,
until
that's
recently.
yeah. Well, that's cool.
Um, yeah, it's pretty I've always been into fantasy books. I like true crime stuff. I'm actually still reading a book that's just a fiction story, um, written in the '60s, I believe, that Mark suggested. And it's a romance book, technically speaking, but it's not fantasy or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of been cool, um, going outside of my normal Stephen King or
Yeah, sure.
Brandon Sanderson stuff, you know, kind of cool.
Well,
Do
it's
you read?
you
Do
know.
you read, Rob? I know you read comic books. I know, but I can't
Um,
remember if you've ever said.
I mean, I have read some. I have read some series and stuff like that, but it's been a while. Um, I tend to, depending on how much spare time I have, especially these days, I'd rather be right here drawing, making a thing than
Yeah,
a thing. Because I know if I find a book I'm really into, I know what it's like to get just sucked into it. You're like, oh God, ugh, and then suddenly I'm reading that as opposed to making a thing. Since I don't have any spare time right now, I'm like, nope. In fact, I'm not a gamer, but I occasionally will fiddle around online, but I don't even do that hardly at all. It's just gotta go, go, go. So
yeah. No, you're right. I could see that. And to be fair, because I've been reading so much, but that between that and now I have school, it's definitely affected my art time for sure. Except for when I'm drawing in the books. So there is that. Um Kate says, Jess and I have our own course. Maybe we'll podcast it.
there
We
you
should.
go.
We should. Oh, that'd be hilarious. We just make ourselves laugh. We
I
just
think
be all
that'd
excited.
be fun to hear you guys get together and geek out over whatever the hell. I'd listen
That'd be hilarious. Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe we will, Kate. We'll follow in Rob's footsteps here.
to it.
You really have just how many subscribers do you have now?
Fourth, I'm about to hit 4,800.
Holy shit.
I was on a big
That
tear
is
for a while because the app gives you stats on how many people have joined in the last 28 days. And I reached a point where, because it kept going up, like 800 people in the last 28 days, and it got up to 1,000 people in the last 28 days. And it's kind of because I've kind of slowed down a little bit in the last couple of weeks, so it's now down to like 300 people, 300
Mhm.
people in the last 28 days. And I had a video that I did. I think I've told you about it, where it's at like 52,000 views. Did I tell you about that one? But it got demonetized,
Uh,
boobs in it.
yeah, what was the deal with that? Yeah, I remember you saying that.
It's just this art. It's that art book from this guy Frank Cho. A lot of the artists in here will know what I'm talking about. But
Oh, yeah, yeah.
he draws nude female figures, and it's not porn, but it's nude figures. And so YouTube's like, nope. So it can't be monetized. So you basically have to have, um, I don't know if you have to have an account to actually view it, because if that was required, I feel like it would not be as high as it is, but it won't let it be monetized except for people that have YouTube Premium for ad revenue, because they're like,
Oh.
we don't think advertisers would want their chocolate bar commercials in front of this video that has boobs in it. So it demonetized it. Well, no, it didn't demonetize it. It just restricted it to people with YouTube Premium. So at 52,000 views, I've got like $7 in ad revenue from it. It really pisses me,
That sucks.
because the next highest one I had a video with like 10,000 views. I made like $70 off of that one. So I'm like, well, what would
Yeah.
you do that? So I've been waiting for one of these videos just to take off just once, just a little bit. And here's one, but then they're like, no, you can't do that because we don't boobs bad. I'm like, who do you think? What? Are you kidding? Boobs good.
Oh my gosh, my kid was telling me today, actually. Mark, I don't know how it's pronounced. G Jinga. I don't know. Jinka, G Jinka. I don't know how it's pronounced. Guy Jinka. So I'm using the little I this thing that you uploaded. This is Mark's picture that I'm using. Um, to as my reference. I'm just making this bird-like chick. Yeah, that sucks, Rob. It's funny. My kid was telling me today, though. He said, "You doing a live today?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh." I said, "What?" He's like, "Well, I always ask if I can watch it because sometimes Dad watches them." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "When he says maybe, maybe not." And I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "It depends on what Rob's drawing."
Oh, that's fair. But to be fair, I haven't drawn anything except comic pages for weeks and weeks now. It's not like I'm drawing like nude.
I know. It's just funny. It's just funny. I was laughing. I was like, you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah,
I
Rob
think I've drawn the more racy stuff lately, to be honest. But
used a little bit. Yeah,
it was just funny. He said that. He's like, "Oh." I said, "What?" And he's like, "Dad says it just depends on what Rob's drawing, if we can watch."
I think that'd be cute, especially if he wants to watch and see what Mom's doing and chatting about, just to kind of see and.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll be all excited. "Mom, we were looking for something on YouTube, and it tried to get us to watch you and Rob's video."
We totally
Like they
did.
think that's
Not Minecraft, but we saw it.
exactly. It's just funny. They think it's so cool. They're like, "Oh, Rob's videos always show up."
That's awesome. That's cute. My boys think it's neat that Daddy's a YouTuber, but they've kind
Yeah.
of that's kind of dropped off their over enthusiasm. They're like, yeah, Daddy is. He just does his thing. I'm like, all right, you know.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway, hey Mark, glad to see you in there. I know you've been there for a minute, but I can't keep up with everything.
Yeah, he's doing stuff. So he says. Um, yeah, it's cool. You've been doing some lives with so many different people, I feel like.
Yeah, So it's fun. That last
That's
one I
pretty
did with
sweet.
the guy Mitch, we basically do the same thing on YouTube. Like he's a guy that's making his own book. It looks awesome. Talks about the same type of comics as me. We're very similar in that respect, and
Mhm.
we kind of been talking back and forth over a little while. Like we should do a live stream together. We just kind of finally worked it out, and I felt like it went pretty well. Like we had fun conversation. We're laughing, and people seem to enjoy it. So I thought it was great.
Say I watched a little bit of it today. I thought it was yeah, you guys definitely complemented each other really well.
In fact, he had a page up there right at the beginning where there's this big awesome
Mhm.
like monster face, and Chuck was there, and he saw it. He's like, "Zoom in on that panel, please. Can I see that?" And as soon as he did, Chuck was like, "Well, you got a new subscriber." So, Chuck thought it
That's
was
awesome.
impressive. Yeah, I was like, "Well, there you go."
That's a big compliment.
Kind of what I think.
Trying to get my 9-year-old into something, like get him into cuz his brother, he plays guitar and now he's skateboarding and trying new stuff.
Right.
And so I'm trying to get his brother into something because he really doesn't have something. I mean, pretty much it's Minecraft. Minecraft is Minecraft that. Which my 3-year-old's like that too. Um, and so I've been trying I said, "Well, what about art? Would you be interested in, doing some art with mom? I'll get you the supplies, your own supplies, and let's make that like your hobby. How would you feel about that?" No. No, thanks. I was like, "All right, you little turd." I'm just kidding.
I can imagine it's kind of hard to find a thing like when we were young. We tended to kind of know things that we really liked, and you're like, well, all right, young one, let's find something you're into. But sometimes they're just kind of slow on the give a shit factor. Like, I don't know.
Uh-huh. I go his dad's like, "You wanna learn an instrument? Would you like to play guitar? Would you like to play piano?" And I said, "I'll teach you piano," and he didn't wanna do that. I don't know. He didn't wanna do anything. He didn't wanna skateboard. He didn't wanna try, blading really, nothing really, and I said, "All right, well, maybe I'll pick something for you then." I tried art, of course, and we saw that went, and then I said, "Well, maybe you'll like to do, so maybe I'll pick crocheting then since you." No, no, not that.
What does he like to do? Does he have interest in like animals or jets or cars like someone's saying right there says if he likes Minecraft, try programming. There you go. That's a good kind of thought. Yeah.
So that he's dead on right there. He does like programming. He's been doing programming in school. Um, he wants to program games, and that's fine. But the problem is that he has to learn the small steps of programming, the how to, I don't know that much, the formula of programming first before he can do the fun stuff he wants to do. And so he's, you know, still doing that right now.
Yeah.
But he does like programming.
Well, that's interesting. There you go. That's
And I've said, what about mechanics? Because you can get him like the little sets where he could learn mechanics and build and practice and build robots and things. I don't know if that's mechanics or engineering, I guess, but he didn't really want to do that.
you're like, damn it, son, you have to give us something. We have to we can't have you sit around doing nothing, so we need something.
Yeah, exactly. I really just want you to pick something. We can help you. My husband's like, man, when I was a kid, my parents didn't give a shit what I did. Like, they didn't want to help me at all. Like,
That's, I
come
mean,
on, man.
kind of my parents, except that we were always like, easy. We could easily entertain ourselves. We'd be outside riding our bikes, playing like soldiers and stuff like that, running around, pretend shooting each other. Then we come inside, we'd watch a couple of shows and play video games. And we'd run back outside and go hang out with our friends. We are just always going, going, going. And I'm like, this is
Yeah.
what it should be like. And like, kids are so different anymore.
I will say, I was one of I lived in the country, so I didn't have there was no kids in my neighborhood really except for my own siblings. But I did I was gone all day. My mom would say, "Okay, see you at dinner time," and I would go play in the woods all day
Yeah.
long
Oh yeah, totally. Yep.
with my siblings. We'd be out there. We had our own Indiana Jones stories. Like we had all kinds of things going on. And we really wouldn't come back until we were just starving.
And isn't that just the greatest?
It is cool to think about.
So fun just to be like a kid. We're just out running around having a great time. Yeah, that was us.
Gaten says you just need to get him to understand that learning how to program is the fun part. Someone saying says there's that is also Gaten. Oh my goodness, I'm tired. There's an excitement behind figuring out how to get something done. Liken it to Redstone, and you may catch his attention. Redstone, is that a Minecraft thing? I think it is, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, that's fair. And I probably should just put more effort into that then if that's what he wants to do. We may just, you know, do that. It's a fair thing. And honestly, like you said, as someone said in here, I think, it's a good career if he sticks with it. So
Right. Yeah.
I know nothing about computers. So his dad can program things. His dad's really good at it. So I'm sure his dad could teach him,
Yeah.
which he has. And that's what he tried to explain to him. But
Sahar says, "Wow, oh my God," and Sujit Debnath says, "Beautiful work." Thank you.
wow, you've got a lot done in the time we've been on here.
Just just draw. I'm drawing a funeral scene, so it's
Hmm.
it's one of two.
Yeah.
One's like a big crowded one, and then another one will be a private one.
Hmm.
Oh,
Sad times.
it is true.
You're a heartless person, Rob.
I do murder off some characters, but
It's true. He does. He doesn't care.
I do not. Actually, it's the exact opposite. I care a lot, and it's kind of like rough for me to like take these characters to the certain place. I'm like, oh, it's so final, but I'm like, it just fits the story. It's what needs to happen. This is where this needs to go. So I'm like, all right, I'm letting the story go where it needs to go.
Look at you. You are a writer, Rob.
Panda, oh, these are not done at all. I have to get some reference for these panels. This is a picture of the royal palace from the cartoon, and I can't remember it from memory. And this one is like inside like a courtyard where there's like this big obelisk, like a monument to one of the characters, and a bunch of silhouetted shapes of all the people that are kind of surrounding it. So I I gotta work on those. So it's kind of easier to work on the human figure parts, but I'm gonna have to put in some effort on these top panels. Mark says that's how Kirkman felt about the Walking Dead characters he killed off. I'd imagine so. It's like if you're writing these characters and like the story is just taking you to this place, and it's like I might like this character, but the end result has to be this because it just makes sense. You're like, well, I have to do it. In fact, one of these characters, I was never gonna, I never planned to have this character be gone, but I thought about it, and just one day, it just kind of occurred to me, this needs to happen. And then I ran it by
Yeah.
you, and you were like, "Well, I actually thought that something like that probably should, considering what happened in the book. How does a person do this and get away with this and have no consequence?" And I was like, "That's yeah, yeah, you're correct." So
I remember
you
this.
remember that, you know.
I do remember this
I
conversation.
do run a lot of these ideas by you because I'm like, I need the perspective, girl.
In I can seriously remember it to actually detail. We were on the phone and I was cleaning up my living room in my last house I lived at.
Yeah. Is that what we
I can remember this when you were telling this. I was like, damn it, you're right.
I'm glad we agree because it's done. It's happened. It's already drawn. I'm not undoing it.
Okay. Peace.
Exactly.
It's over with.
In fact, I did have a. I know we tried to. I tried to like, hey, I need to talk to you, and then you're like, I'll call you, and then you did, but I was like driving and not able to answer, and then I felt like a dick. And then we
Yeah,
just.
you were a little bitch because we had planned it. And you were like, never mind.
I was driving my car with my kids. I wasn't even home yet.
Yeah, well, fine. I'll
You're like,
give you that.
you're still a little bitch, Rob.
I haven't changed my mind at all. I'm just kidding.
I can tell, and that's fair. That is valid.
But yes, if you, I mean, I don't know if you still need me to or want my opinion on
I do.
what we were talking about.
I do.
Okay.
You're like, well, tough shit, Rob.
Yeah, well, you kind of missed your chance. I'm just kidding.
And we've moved on.
Just kidding. Thank you, Massive Panda. I appreciate that. I'm just kind of honestly just doing stuff. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Unlike Rob, I have no plan.
Definitely.
Truth.
Mark had to take off. He's got to go back and be a reasonable, responsible employee. That's fair.
Damn it.
I know, right?
Okay. Well, that's fair. Suppose we'll let you go.
Just this one time. Next time,
Yeah. Not a chance. I'm just kidding.
not a hail, Buster.
Mm-hmm. Forget about it. 6:30.
Okay.
We are gonna go get Slurpees
Uh,
because I promised my kids I would take them for
well,
7-Eleven Day.
for real, you should just keep the live stream going. Just strap your phone to like your front of your jacket. Or just go with you.
I should.
I will go on Slurpee days with Jessica. Like, oh, we'd all stay here. Everybody be like, shut off the guy drawing. Who fucking cares? We all want the chick go get Slurpees. This is funny.
It would probably be because we're gonna walk. This is our way we get exercise. Whoa, one. I don't know if I should say this name and butcher it, but says hi. I'm sure the Ghost Rider image you use is a pic I took the of glow in the dark Ghost Rider number 15 cover. I used a UV flashlight to make it glow bright. I tweeted it to past Ghost Rider editor Chris Robinson. Really cool to see people use the pic.
Um,
$50.
Juan, I do not know what to say. Uh, is that real?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Did you just? Holy shit. Well, I owe you something. Um, if you're still listening, Juan, the picture that you're referring to is, yes, it is the Ghost Rider picture, but it is something I took. I did a video on it for my channel here, and I because it glowed in the dark, but this copy I have is ancient, so I put a bright light on, like really close to it, to let it absorb light, and then I shut off all the lights in my room here and turned on the camera, and so I caught the glow of the skull, and it was really bright for the first couple of, like, 2 or 3 seconds, and it started to fade, and then I turned the lights on and went on with my comic book review. But I thought that that glowing picture looked so interesting. I just screenshotted it off my phone, just click, and I thought it looked so interesting. I just used it as my little avatar. So it's exactly that comic, but it's a picture I took, but it's exact. You know exactly what it is. Um, Good Lord, I
That's awesome.
just kind of at a loss here. I'm like, what did that just happen? Thank you so much. That is far and away, the most generous anyone's ever been.
Well,
Like,
I don't
I
know.
get excited when somebody
Mark
sends
has
me,
donated a lot.
what's that?
So Mark has over time donated a lot, I
Okay,
feel
no,
like.
okay, true, correct. Mark has multiple times done more, but in terms of like a single, and I know you know this. I know you're not like, I know you're not being contrarian just because. I know what you mean. But in terms of someone doing a one off, like I had one
Yeah.
time about a month ago, some new lady joined up the channel and was kind of talking about, she thought the artwork looked fun and exciting, and was like, hey, I enjoy this. And so she sent me $25. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that was just amazing. So, um, oh, and Juan, he just did another two. Dude, Juan Benitez, I do not know what to say. You are incredibly generous. Um, Thank you so much. Like I was saying, I get excited whenever anybody sends me a $1.99. Like, oh my God, thank you. It's so generous of you. Thank you. So um yeah. Oh hey, Courtney. Yeah, thank you.
What
Sorry, I'm
up?
kind of stumbling over my words here, but it's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I, I am unworthy.
That's not true.
I thought for sure you're going to be like, I mean, that's not what I've been saying, Rob, but
What? What did you think I was gonna say?
that I'm like, I'm going to be like, I'm unworthy, and you're going to be like, yeah, that's true, Rob. You're not.
No.
No, you know.
Yes, I would normally say that, but no. In this instance, I'm not gonna be awful. This one time. Uh, let's see here. Mark Rydell 2, the animation rocks. Oh, Sujit Debnath. I am learning 2D animation in Adobe Animate. I am facing uh, definitely two different side view of characters. Love your work. There you go.
It'd be fun to learn animation if I had time, because I think it would be fun to take what, like, I'm always drawing static images, but it'd be like fun to try and like make them move. So I think that that's
Hmm.
a fun thing to kind of learn. But when there's only so
Yeah.
much time in the world to dedicate to the one thing, I'm like, well, you know,
Yeah, no kidding. That is true. That is true. I tell you this much: watching anime, I am just, I am just always, always super impressed with the artists who do the work on that stuff.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Just crazy.
And then you go back and look at kind of traditional American cartoon animation, and a lot of time you just like, it's not even close.
No,
Like,
agree.
anime kind of ruined American animation for me, because I'm just like, once I've seen how good some of these things can be, I'm like, nope, I can't go back. And I don't even like anime storylines that much per se,
Which is
but
super weird.
it is gay. It is stupid lame of me.
I mean, I just think they have such better. Their stories are just amazing, but that's just me.
But again, I've seen
Sorry,
very,
go on.
yeah. You like, please go on, Rob. Please continue to share your wisdom. Mark Riddell says you have to make choices on how to use your. He says Tim, but I'm sure he meant time. Angel's asking, who's Tim? We're talking about the
Uh,
best way to use your time.
yeah, just a little bit of a
This type.
yeah, mistype there, I'd say.
It's okay. You guys are going to go walking in 100-degree weather to get Slurpees?
Yep.
If you die from heat stroke, I don't want to hear it, because I won't. Shit.
All right, I won't tell you if we die from heat stroke.
Like, you could haunt me. Like, please haunt me. That'd be like, Rob, you suck. I'm like, I know. You're making me
Oh,
want a Slurpee though now too. Now I'm like, ugh. I might have to get off this live stream, and I'm going to get in a car. Thank you very much, and go. I'm not going to go walk to no 7-Eleven.
to be fair, I live very close to one.
Yeah,
It's like
I figured.
a 10-minute walk.
Uh, there's not one that close to me anywhere.
Yeah. So, however, my one kid was out and about and he's like, there's a line over there. And I'm like, oh gosh. I hate people. Not the people on this stream,
Yeah,
to be
good
just
save.
to just to tell you. Just people out in public.
That are in my way, blocking my access to shit I want. Those are people I hate.
Yeah, that I have to deal with. I'm not a fan.
Hey, I did something today at work that I've never done before in my life.
Talk to a woman.
I did, yes. It was like, oh my god,
Just
you girl pretty, girl pretty. They're like, ew, God, get away. I'm like, no, girl pretty. You
oh my
come
god.
up with that so fast. You're like, boom, talk to a chick. Hey, I can talk to girls. You're a girl, right?
That's true. I think I am.
I'm pretty sure you are. I think all those 4 children you had is pretty telling.
That's fair.
But
Mm,
I've actually been thinking of this recently, and then ironically, my direct supervisor, he's like, "Hey, can you come back? We got to do like like our yearly check-in thing. I'm like, oh, God damn, finally, because I've been thinking about this because I haven't sat down and talked with the supervisor about like job performance, and like no one's done it for like 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does this go this long? But then he's like, hey, it's time for this thing. I'm like, okay, great. Everything's going great. He loves me. He thinks I'm great, and he's not wrong because I am awesome.
Oh
But
my gosh.
all right, I said, look, boss, I've never done this before, so but I'm gonna like look. I've never gone to any supervisor ever and like said, I really think I deserve more money than I'm being paid, and I laid out all the reasons why. And he's like, you're exactly correct. He says, I don't have the authority to do that. Only the store manager does. So he's like, I'll try and I'll try and catch him on when he's got like a good mood day. And he says, I will advocate for you as far as I possibly can until he actually tells me yes or no. And I'm like,
Ah.
I said, that's fair. Like, you can't make this happen. He says, if I could do this on my own, I would do it to you. I would do it for you right now. But he doesn't have the authority to do that. But I'm like, you know what? You heard me out. I appreciate it. But I've never gone to a boss and said, look, I haven't called out ever since I've been in this position. That's several years. Outside of being hospitalized for COVID pneumonia, I've been here every day, every day. And when they eliminated the department head positions and the other guy that was in charge, they just eliminated it. And so he had to go find
Mm-hmm.
a job. All those responsibilities just fell onto my lap. I now got to do everything that guy did. But did they give me any kind of compensation for it? No, of course not. So I'm like, hey, I feel like you guys could throw me like Danielle, who works with me. She's only like $2 an hour less than me, but it's because the company's hiring at much higher rates than when I started.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
That
started
happened
at
to
like
me when I worked at that
$12 an
company.
hour. Yeah, it's not that
I knew
she doesn't.
somebody who did a terrible job working there that made more than me. My husband, my now husband.
What?
I found that out, and I'm not kidding. I was like, went to our manager, you know who you just had dinner with him. I was like, come on. He's like, stop talking about your salary. I was like, come on, this isn't right. And you know it. This guy does shit all. Anyway, continue on.
Yeah, I said to the guy in charge, I was like, or the boss, I'm like, I know we're not supposed to talk about salary to other employees, and he's like, actually, there's no rule against that really for the company. I'm like, are you serious? I said a couple years ago, I was in a meeting with, well, no, like several years ago when I kind of my first couple years at the company, the assistant
Hmm.
manager at the time, I don't know if you remember Kelly Moss.
I remember.
We were in a meeting in the back, and he said, if I hear any of you talking about your salary to each other out, I will fire you on the spot. So I took that as, all right, well,
Yeah.
that's company policy. I understood. But my guy
Yeah.
now, he's like, it's not company policy. It's not. He's like, there's nowhere where it says you can't do that. It might be a good idea to not, but it's your choice. You can talk about whatever you damn well please. So I'm like, oh, well, that being said, I've been talking to some of my coworkers, and when someone who's really good but only been here like 3 years, and I've been here coming up on 19, makes $2 an hour less than me, I feel like, you know, and
I
someone
disagree.
saying I'm patting myself on my back, but he's not wrong.
Jeez, Rob, don't hurt your arm.
I know, right?
That's how Rob's always been.
God, so full of himself.
Try working with him. Ugh.
Jessica, like, he keeps coming up the desk to talk to me, and every time he walked up, I'm like, good Lord, would he please go away? And he never
What does
would.
he want now? What
He
does
like
he
wants
need
to
now?
talk art and shit, and I, yeah.
Just kidding. No, I used to come in and I would check the schedule. Even though I could have just asked you, I guess I should have just called you and said, "Hey, are you working today?" But I never did that. I would check the schedule. And I'd be like, if you weren't there, I was like, this shift's gonna suck every time.
You're
And if
very
you were, I was like, oh, great, I get to bullshit tonight.
right. Rob will bullshit. Rob will show up at the desk. Yeah, it was a real struggle for me to walk up and talk to like the cute art girl. It was a real struggle for me, really.
I know. I
Like
know it was. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah, you know, yeah, no.
What's up, Chuck?
Well,
18 years,
well,
never called in.
well, no,
Hurt your
it's
arm,
not
Rob.
18 years and never called in. It's in my current position for the last 4 years, never called in, which is still pretty damn substantial in my opinion.
That's not something I would do. I am one of those people who called in for anything I feel like I can. My husband, though, he has been 8 or 9 years now without a call in,
Wow.
which is crazy to me.
Well, you should go get
Now
a little
he's,
kissy kissy.
no, I won't. But
Negative.
um, that is crazy to me. I mean, he's scheduled time off, of course,
Sure, sure.
but
Yeah,
everything's been PTO.
yeah. Well, for me, it's like the thing that I do. If I'm not there, no one else can do what I do, and
Right.
or at least in the proper way. So if I'm not there, someone else has to do it, and they will fuck it up. And when I come back, I
Uh,
fix the fuck up. And so if I'm legitimately sick, I promise you, I will call out. But here's the thing: my fat ass doesn't ever get sick.
Shut the hell up. I'm just, all I'm hearing is you just talking about how great you are.
Let me have one moment of being great, and then I'll go back to being self-depreciating. This is how I'm like advocating for myself to my boss. I'm like, look, I'm not the greatest at anything, but I am here. I took over all the duties from the previous
Yeah.
guy, and you guys didn't give me any compensation. Blah 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 blah. Give me cash. He's like, I'll try. I'm like, all right, that's all done. Good enough. I appreciate it. Thank you. So I don't know. We'll see.
Gaten says, I'm the same way, Rob. I worked at a restaurant for 8 years and only missed one day of work. My office job, they pretty much kicked me out and forced me to take my vacation time. Isn't that that is something? That is how it is for my husband. They had to lock him out. His manager locked him out the day that my third son was born because they knew he was going to log in while he was at the hospital waiting. And so she said, "You're not to log in." That was my husband's manager. He's in the hospital room with me. I'm just going to check a couple emails. We're waiting. We're waiting. They really did it. I can't get in. She's like, I knew you would. I knew you would.
I get that from their perspective, but in a way, when especially when you're having a baby, there's times when you're like just sitting because
When
baby's
you're the dad.
baby's not coming, and you're just like, well, I'm just gonna sit here. I could just log in and read an email, and if somebody asks me a question, I could fire off a response, solve some problems. But
Yeah, that's what he was thinking for sure.
I get his point. That makes sense to me. But yeah, I took
And
my
I was
vacation.
having a C-section. We knew exactly when the baby
Oh
was
yeah,
coming.
yeah, that's fair.
So it wasn't like, but it was just funny that they did that. They're
Yeah,
like, no, you are not logging in. He's
yeah.
like, what? Oh my gosh, she really did it.
They were not. Yeah, and I get 4 weeks of vacation, so I got to take time off, and I absolutely will. Don't get me wrong, I take my time off. It's just that I'm not one to be like, you know what, I don't want to go into work today. I believe me, I have those all the time, but because of the problems it would create, I don't. And there's also a little part of me that's like, I've got this streak unbroken. It's kind of like my YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I don't ever miss a day with videos, and I'm kind of like, I don't want to break that streak. So that's one of the reasons why I'm motivated just to keep going. So I guess I've got some obsessive personality traits a little bit or something.
You know what? That's probably a good thing, though. You know what? Work ethic is a good thing. I do think you can work too much. I do think you can take it too seriously, but you got to pay the bills.
Yeah,
And I think, you're setting a good example for your kids too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this sounds dumb, and I'm not trying to be self-depreciating, but I've been successful at so little in life. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm just
Right.
existing, and I see other people like, oh, I have these successes. I did this, and I'm like, I've got some stuff. I'm actually kind of. Like I can do shit worthwhile, and some of it's with my art, the
Oh,
channel, comic, with my job.
100%.
I can do stuff.
No, I get it though. I get it. I submitted one of my just a thing for school, like a paper for school, and I got my evaluation for it back today, and I got a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? They said a lot of really nice things. Like I got 100% on it, and there were a lot of notes, which I've gotten notes about certain ones before, but this is not like one that's peer reviewed or anything. So I didn't expect to get much. And they said a lot of really nice things about how I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to add all this, but I did. I went above and beyond, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, well, you know what?
Yeah,
Maybe, maybe
yeah,
I can do stuff.
yeah.
As dumb as that sounds, it's just like a stupid thing that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. No, I get it. Chuck says he worked on Christmas Eve while everyone else at Wildstorm was doing the Christmas party on a party bus that Jim had rented to make sure Stormwatch 12 wasn't going to be returnable. I get that because you wanted to get the books out by a certain time. And wow, that's I have to have Stormwatch 12. I swear to God, Chuck, believe me, I got a billion comics. I've only ran into one that had your name in the credits. I know I have more based on what you've told me you've done. I just like I've got so many. I got to go digging through them. I want to find these ones and be like, here's one that he did.
That'd be so cool.
I know I've
It'd be
got him.
really
He's
cool
yeah.
if you could do a live stream with Chuck. I know
Oh yeah,
his hours are kind of different, and it'd be on one that he did. Have you done that before?
with him.
Yeah,
No, no, we need to. We definitely need to. I want to. We will. It's on my extremely high priority to do list. Um,
that would be super neat.
I think so. There he is. He's like promises, promises. This guy won't even have me on his show. See? Oh. Uh-oh, we lost Jessica. She must have got a phone call or something. When it goes blank like that, so we'll wait for her to come back. No, Chuck, 100%. I want to do it. I've always wanted to do it. It's just a kind of matter of when do you want to? Honestly, I will make it happen as quick as I can. Bye, Jess. She's gone. Guys, I just got a mail package delivery. I should show the address, but I got a comic or something that I ordered. Let's look at it live on the channel. Since Jessica left, oh, there she is. I guess she's done with her important phone call.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My little sister is calling me. Okay, at least she doesn't know I'm on a live stream.
No, I get it. I was like, it must have been a phone call. We know how it goes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see what's in this package before I have to go get my
Were you bound?
Slurpee.
Yeah, even Chuck was like, bye, Jess.
I could I could hear you guys. I could see what was going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm right here. Oh.
Let's see. See if I can open this up without like slicing my own guts open. I don't remember what I ordered from this guy. So what did I get? Son of a bitch. It's probably some porn comics, and it's going to be like embarrassing.
Did you order that?
I ordered some Penthouse comics because of the artist drawing them. Whoa! But not because they're porn comics. It's because of the artist drawing them. So
Okay.
I literally have no idea what these could be. I know once I see it, I'll just be like, um, I'm like, oh right, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh right. I've seen this thing in ads for comics back in the day 1,000 times, and it looked like the worst comic in the world because It was like in the late 90s, I think, but it was all digitally created comic book panels, and it looks horrible. And I've always wanted to see it. So, um,
Looks
48.
pretty cool to me.
I mean, it's like cheesy old. Taking the difference between this and a hand drawn illustration by a master. I will. So I have this thing where people notice like I buy crappy comics for the channel. Um, shit that I would never want because it's not good, but it makes for great content, hopefully. And I got a copy of Evangeline Power #1 because Liefeld content is always fun,
Wow, look at that hairdo.
right? That is the most half-assed drawing, from a guy who does half-assed drawings. Good Lord, is that just? And then I'm trying to piece together the Todd McFarlane 5-issue Torment run, and I got issue 4. Is this the crazy one McFarlane colored? Yes. Look at these insane colors. Holy crap. This guy's got his hole blown through his head. Anyway, yeah. Now I remember. But this digital Donna Matrix thing, oh Lord. Because again, it's like ancient comic art, or with computer art.
I kind of like that about it because it looks so old school.
Easy. I'm trying to pop it open to do like a quick. Um, oh yeah, Chuck. Todd's colors on that thing were horrible, but at least he tried. He did pencils, inks, colors. I think even lettering. Um, but that makes it an interesting artifact. Let's see what this computer generated imagery in this book looks like. Oh my God! Look at that. Looks like a Lara Croft Tomb Raider game. Like one of the like the blocky ones
The blocking.
where her tits were pyramids. Look at
Oh
this
my
crap.
god.
This is terrible.
Oh my gosh, I'm laughing my ass off. Right. That is pretty bad.
The wave of the future. Oh, this is like, those are like CGI boobies, I think. Like, I can't really, I mean, they're boobies, but are they like dressed or not? I think they are. Oh man, this is just awful. This is, oh my lord. Oh, look, she's a dominatrix robot thing.
Nice.
Like the resolution is terrible. Look, it looks like a Barbie doll. Look at those.
It ain't great.
It ain't, it's not. No, don't get me wrong. I'd still play with them, but they're real enough.
Ugh, this is why my kids can't watch
You're
this, Rob.
right. You know what? It was going so well, and then I ruined it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, they look like Lego toys. Like, look at that thing. Chuck, who's the artist? Let me flip it over here. Um, it says art and layout and computer imaging. Norm Dwyer, Dwyer, and then 3D modeling. Norm Dwyer, Joseph Allen, Mike uh, Saenz, Sains. Um,
Someone
oh
sings.
snap! We know what you were doing. Someone saying this is a. Oh my God, this is bad. I just all right. I mean, I try to be like realist. Like they're trying a thing. It was the wave of the future ish. But
When did it come out?
oh, this is a comic that was published. Like, let me see.
When?
I'm looking for a 1993. How old were you in 93? 3 years old?
I was 3, depending on the month. Yeah.
Well, yeah, roughly speaking. Oh man, this is just going to be. Chuck says Mike Sains did the first computer comic art in the '80s. That's interesting. Um,
Yeah.
Again, I can see that they're trying to do a thing, but
Yeah.
I will take Rob Liefeld and any of the guys from his studios every day over this, like this lifeless, soulless, blocky. Reactor has created the first computer 3D generated comic book. Now we reveal how it was done. Wow.
Wow, I'm so
I
intrigued.
know. I was hoping it would be a little bit more R-rated of a comic than it looks like it actually is, but it's very like
Oh my gosh.
don't judge me or judge
You are 100% being judged right now, and it's probably not just me.
like everyone's laughing at you, Rob. We know what you wanted in this. Yeah,
I
Chuck's like,
wanted
no,
more blocky boobs.
there was right, yeah. He says there was barely Photoshop. They're making that with Windows Paint or some shit. Like, yeah, there's even a section in the back. I'll have to read it where they talk about how they did it. I wonder if it'll say um, how um, what program. Everything in Donna Matrix is 3D modeled. All 3D models were constructed over a network of Macintosh Quadra 950S using Swivel Professional software. The entire book was designed and composed in Adobe Illustrator, and the special effects were added with Adobe Photoshop. So
Mm,
that is,
color me impressed.
I guess, like, look, here's like rough, sketchy drawings that the artist actually did. Just put those in the book. Yeah, as someone's saying, it says Swivel using Swivel Professional trademarked. So, well,
You know
this,
what? I just realized
yes, ma'am.
I have been frozen still since my phone call.
Is it just the same sitting image, the same static image?
Yes.
Oh, just
I am looking at it now. I'm sure they can't even hear me. They're like, "Why are you responding?" It's weird.
I think somebody would have said something, but I'm surprised no one mentioned that you're frozen. I guess I was just so enthralling and intriguing.
You're so intrigued by this beautiful artwork.
Oh, it's just the worst. That is going to be an interesting book to talk about because I don't want to like shit on people,
Yes, you
but
do. Shut up. You do too.
no, I'll shit on the art, but not the people unless they're known to be absolute like jackwagons. Then
Oh
I'll
my
look at
gosh. I don't want to just shit on people.
it's just the art.
It's just the art. Shut up, Jessica.
As someone saying says, I thought she just stopped drawing. He says you're clear in terms of audio, so he just assumed you just stopped drawing, like you just kind of surrendered.
It was pretty bad. No, I'm almost finished it actually. I am probably gonna jump off here though, since
Yeah,
it's frozen anyway.
right.
But yeah, I actually might watch this video when you do this one.
On this, I'll be sure to let you know when I do it. It'll probably happen. It'll happen this coming week for sure. It's too
Yeah.
wild not, you know, to not talk about it. So,
Yeah. If Rob were a pigeon, he'd shit on Liefeld.
I mean, I mean,
That is hilarious.
uh, I love my fans.
We love you too.
Well, I'm glad somebody does.
Ew.
I think I want to put that quote up on my channel, like as a permanent, like the banner across the top of my YouTube page. If Rob was a pigeon.
Oh my gosh, that would be great. You have to put like in quotations beneath though, JD.
Oh yeah, people be like,
That's hilarious.
what the hell does that mean?
Bet they get like some really intrigued people though.
Right.
Maybe Rob himself would show up. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, he wouldn't give me the time of the day, nor should he.
All right. Well, I love you. I'm gonna jump off here.
Well, thanks for stopping in, Jess. I know I said it, but
Yeah.
I've been missing you. I'm glad you're around, and
Yeah.
whenever you're
Thanks
available.
for thanks for having me in my frozen self.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's been fun.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, bye
All
guys.
right, see you, Jazz. Go have good Slurpees or whatever the hell you're doing.
I will. I'll take pictures.
Take a picture, put them up. I want to see the Slurpees because I
I'm
might.
gonna put them on the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, you won't see them. So go join the Discord.
All right, bunch of punks.
There you go. Bye.
See you, Jess. Like, I'm not being unreasonable, right, guys? I mean, there's one thing to be said for like trying a thing, but what made anybody think when you could look at classics like John Byrne drawn X-Men or Jim Lee or McFarlane or any of the guys, Mike Mignola, Frank Miller, and to look at this stuff and be like, kids will be into this shit. I know that it's like it was the new thing, and like I guess somebody has to try it. Somebody has to throw it out there and be like, maybe this is the wave of the future. And in a way, it is. But like, look at that thing, D-Man. I know you'd appreciate this. This 1993 3D modeled um, comic book. What? Just. I mean, they focused on giving her like a tight butt and a G-string, so I guess that's something. By 93, Mike had already put out a really bad computer art series that no one cared about. I mean, it's one thing to like look at the technology that's available and go, I wonder if we can do something like that, but it has to be better than the shit that's already being done. Like these look like look at these things. They look like little toys. And again, I wish I could show you clearly like the resolution on these pictures is just awful. I get the technology and the limitations of the time, but it makes you think that you would stop. It looks like screenshots from Tekken. Holy shit, that's what it looks like. That's what I'm seeing. I used to love that game. Oh man, you are right. This is like these are people who like into computers and modeling, but storytelling and composition do not exist in their world. Reboot. I kind of liked that show, D-Man. It wasn't my favorite, but I kind of liked Reboot. But that same studio did the Beast Wars animated series, which was fantastic. Um, that was a bunch of guys putting story ahead of the limitations of the 3D animation they had available to them in a computer generated weekly TV show. And they did incredible work. Yeah, this is just awful. You guys had a Tekken machine in the studio pit. I know you've mentioned this, Chuck, but like, how did anybody get work done with all these like goofballs hanging out, having a great time making comics? Which I think you said like that's part of why you started just working from home. You're like, I can't get any work done here. This is some bull crap, which shows work ethic. Okay, comic says, I believe you have the right to make any experiment you but once it's made, people have the right to tell you it sucks. Yeah, D-Man, Jess had to bail. She promised her kids at 6:30 they'd walk over to 7-Eleven. I guess it's because of the date. It's free Slurpees at 7-Eleven, so she promised them they'd do that. So she was here for an hour and a half, but then she had to bail to, keep promises to her kids. Wow. This is like the worst comic ever. I'm glad I got it. This is going to make good content for the channel. Watch, you only get like 150 views. No one will care, but I cared. It's too much like half frat house, half comic convention all the time. Nerf arrows flying and shit. Oh man. Then this Evangeline comic drawn by John Stinsman. I was never a big fan of his work. It's it was just kind of okay. But hell, he got professional work, so what do I know? Chuck. But then you get hit in the head and your line would shake, and now some penciler is all pissed off. Yeah, because your ink line went all ski-wampus right on that flawlessly, perfectly penciled face, and now like, you son of a bitch. I get it though. I think I tend to be the same way. It's like this is fun, but I gotta work. I gotta make my money, man. I gotta pay my rent and shit. Even this McFarlane comic with this psychotic, insane coloring going on is is a trillion times better than that digital comic thing. Well, at least he tried, right, guys? Yeah, Chuck, I can't imagine what it must have been like. Obviously, clearly, duh. Yeah, he did, Chuck. There was a lot of good inkers, right? Didn't Danny Miki got started there, right? And Sabal, Alkiza, guys like that. A lot of good inkers for sure. And a lot of good artists. Like a lot of those guys really grew and became really good. Sabal, oh yeah, yeah. Seen his name all over the place on books. Oh, he walked away about a decade ago and found something. Really? Is that where he went? I assume you're talking about Sabal. I guess it makes sense if there's no money to be made doing what you're doing, and you gotta find something better to do with your time. Townsend did too. For some reason, I thought he was still inking, but maybe that's just because, like you're saying, he's doing some select things. I always thought he was really good. I remember seeing some high resolution close up uh, images of some stuff he inked. I'm like, how does anybody get a line out like this? Like, how does this? How does this even happen? Townsend will show up to ink Capullo or Chris Bacalo, but he's doing something else these days. Mainly, don't know what. Makes sense. At least they keep a hand in the inking or the comic world. He's so good at what he does. I keep waiting for Richard's friend to. He kept doing this work he was doing on that his own like book that Blaster Kid I think he was talking about. He kept posting up artwork on it, and it looks so damn neat. And then I don't know, he hasn't talked about it for a while. I keep wondering what he's doing with that thing. Commercial art pays several times more than comics. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Like people say, not that I'm any authority on anything, but if you're making comic books, you better be doing it because you love it. And you have to, not because you want money, because those days are long gone. If it takes you a day to do a page and you're only being paid $80 for it, like Marvel's paying, is that all that Marvel's like? I assume like beginner rate would be paying. That's insanely horrible. Like, how can they expect to get anybody who's good if they're paying nothing? Yeah, that's terrible. About 100 pages, $100 a page or less. Yeah. I mean, like, I know those early '90s pay rate days are long, long, long since gone. But Lord, it's like if you want a good product, you got to be willing to pay for it. So I don't know. Maybe they're just struggling that hard and they can't afford to. I don't think they're making any money on their comics, but they can't even be making money on their movies anymore, considering how much those things are tanking. I've thought about that too. Okay, comics, they don't want anybody to be good. They don't want to have somebody get good and then they just take off and go be on their own. That's insane, Chuck. Glapian's so good. That's a huge title. That's a huge, that's Batman. That's Capullo. That's, the Court of Owls. I mean, I wonder if they get some kind of like back end deal on royalties. I would think, like, because those books, certain ones can like sell and trade for them for in perpetuity for a long time, and I think the creatives would get a cut of that every time. Wildstorm started you at 125 30 years ago. Dang. The money was the flowing, wasn't it? That's crazy, Chuck. They hold it over his head that his original art rates are better ink and Greg. Yeah. You don't get awesome original art sales by inking some dude. Good point. I guess the seems like the original art market's doing pretty well, and yeah, inking Greg Capullo would be like a dream gig, not just because you're inking Greg Capullo, but because you know people want to buy that stuff. And I like that Greg stays with traditional pencil. It looks great. Keeps that original artwork. Oh yeah, so they make that out as part of your rate. Yeah, I guess I could see that. So I guess him and Capullo just split the pages. Probably, I would think. We drew 20 pages, so they split what they own and then can do whatever they want with them, sell them, keep them. I would imagine something like that. Jesus Christ. It's still 100 degrees here. My poor air conditioning in my place here just cannot keep up. It's that time of year. Good Lord. 78, Mark. I am jealous. Yeah, I bet. Well, guys, I think I might jump off here. Yeah, Mark, I ain't turning off my AC. It's the only thing keeping me alive. The planet can go to hell. I'm gonna jump off here. It's been about 2 hours. Uh, Got to do some stuff and blah blah blah. So this was fun as always, guys. Yeah, Mark, D-Man, Chuck, um, OK Comics. Just kind of checking back to people who are in here. Appreciate it, everyone. Just a great Joe Biden said, "Yabba dabba doom." That's funny. He would say that. All right, guys. See you next time.